In this video, we will be learning the properties of rhombi. So when you have a rhombus, it's just like a parallelogram where opposite sides and opposite angles are congruent. The diagonals bisect each other. Now, here, the diagonals also bisect the angles at each corner. So if you look at each angle, it's divided into two equal smaller angles. And the diagonals also cross and are perpendicular lines. So because for these they're perpendicular, the diagonals cross at perfect right or 90-degree angles. So what's going to help us to solve for different angle sides and diagonals of these rhombi. So here we have a picture of rhombi. They want us to find the value of each of these missing angles. So since we know these cross at 90-degree angles, angle 4 is a 90-degree angle. So for angle 1, since that forms a little triangle, we can add 90 plus 32. That gives us 122. And subtract from 180 because we know triangles, the angles add to 180 degrees. So this will give us 58 degrees for angle 1. And since we learned that these diagonals actually bisect those corner angles, angle 1 and angle 2 are actually congruent. So angle 2 is also 58 degrees. Here we also want to know angle 3. Well, these create similar triangles. So this triangle over here is similar to the one on top. In previous lessons, we learned about alternate interior angles. So here, the 32 degrees would be congruent to angle 3. So angle 3 is also 32 degrees. And again, that's because they're alternate interior angles. And alternate interior angles are congruent. In number 2 here, they say AE equals 3x minus 1. And AC, the whole line, is 16. So the whole line 16, we know that each individual piece is going to be 8 units long. So that'll help us write an equation to find x. So 3x minus 1 equals 8. And I can continue solving from there. Next, we say measure of angle CBD, which would be this angle right here, is 58 degrees. Find the measure of angle ACB. ACB would be this one right here. So that's the one we're looking for. And we know the angle right here is a 90-degree angle because these bisect at right angles. So since this forms a little triangle and we know these add to 180, we could do 90 plus 58, which is 148, and then subtract that from 180. So angle C will be 32 degrees. Our measure of angle ACB, because it's that little angle, is 32. In our next problem, they say measure of angle CDB. CDB would be this one right here, is 6y. And measure of angle ACB, which is this angle up here, is 2y plus 10. They want us to find y. Well, we know that this forms a 90-degree angle. We know that if this one up here is 2y plus 10, this one down here is also 2y plus 10 because the diagonals bisect those corner angles, so the corner angles are equal. So since we know that the three angles in a triangle add to 180, we can actually write an equation here and solve. So I have 90 plus 6y plus 2y plus 10 equals 180. I'm going to start to combine like terms. So 6y plus 2y is 8y, and 90 plus 10 is 100. So I get 8y equals 80. I divide by 8, we get y equals 10. In our next picture, angle KAL is 2x minus 8. KL is this one right here, but we know that's a right angle. So if it's also 2x minus 8, we can say 2x minus 8 equals 90, because we know it's a right angle, so I'm just setting it equal to 90. And now I'm going to solve for x. In our next picture, DA, this part of the diagonal is 4x, and AO, which is part over here, is 5x minus 3. Rhombi, just like parallelograms, have diagonals that are bisected, so the individual pieces will be congruent. So we can set 4x equal to 5x minus 3 and solve that for x. This one actually wants us to find DL when we're done. So DL would be this whole line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the x equals 3 into part of that line. So 4 times x, or 4 times 3 is 12. So this piece is 12. And since they're congruent, this piece is 12 as well. So then the whole line DL, we would just do 12 plus 12, and that comes out to 24. So we could say DL equals 24. So the main new thing that we learned about the rhombus or rhombi is that the diagonals form perpendicular lines, so that angles in the middle of those diagonals are 90-degree or right angles. We also learned that the diagonals bisect each corner angle, so each corner angle is cut into 2 equal smaller angles.